Happy Wednesday and welcome to SJU. As always, we are bringing you the important news of the day. It's love in the time of COVID. On screen with blow-up dolls and spouses. We're not even sure the actors are going to be there anymore. I'm Roth Cornet. That's Spencer Gilbert. Joe Starr is here. And we're going to break out some of the tools that Hollywood is using to make Whoopi, fake Whoopi, in the time of COVID.
Even faker fake Whoopi.
Faker than fake. Well, it's been fake the whole time, supposedly. I see you normal people. That was not fake. All right, good. Here we go. This is via the Hollywood Reporter, Vulture, and the clear psychotic breakdown that we're all having together. As productions begin to resume all over the world, everyone is thinking of new and creative ways to execute sex scenes. And no one's more bold or creative than the bold and the beautiful. So they're stepping right up, ladies and gentlemen, to show the rest of the world how it's done. Soap operas are, this is a quote, I think, from the article, but I wish it was from us. Soap operas are 95% nose-to-nose conversations and lovemaking.
Oh, that's me.
How are they doing it?
That's Joe.
That was me.
That was you? Well done, Joe. We should be writer. So here's a couple of the tricks that they're pulling out of their little rabbit hats. Real life spouses and partners used as body doubles. Used as body doubles. And then here's a quote. We have some lifelike blow-up dolls that have been sitting around here for the past 15 years. I have so many questions about that right there.
We're going to ask
that
them.
We've used for various other stories, like when people are presumed dead. This is Bradley Bell, executive producer and head writer of The Bold and the Beautiful, to Forbes. He said, we're dusting off the dolls and putting new makeup on them, and they'll be featured in love scenes. You know what? I have a couple more bullet points, but I'd like us to pause on that. No, I'll continue. He added that for intimate scenes that involve touching and live bodies that can move, they will use actor spouses, provided that they test negative for COVID-19. More liberal use of cutting to fireplaces and candles, and 8-foot distancing on set for actors. Anyway, there's a lot more here, including CGI that we'll get into later. But let's just stop at the bold and the blow-up dolls.
15-year-old blow-up dolls. They're all from 2005, so they all have bangs, and they're wearing Von Dutch hats and UGG boots on and over their jeans. So yeah, just a little wardrobe update, and you can do that, doll.
For one thing, I feel like there are probably SAG rules to protect actors against blow-up dolls being made of their likeness in case their character's killed off. You know, how do you know that they're not just going to fire the actor and use the blow-up doll? Like, I feel like there's some kind of red tape they're going to have to get through to put these dolls on camera.
Well, I also think it's really funny and notable that, so for most shows and movies, I've talked about this before, my partner is a special effects makeup artist. They make actual bodies, right? But no, they just bought a blow-up doll, like from the 99 cents porn store down the street.
Soap operas, don't they do like 4 shows a week or something like that? You got to go fast, Roth. There's no time to wait for an expertly crafted, lifelike human doll. You just got to blow up the inner tube. Hope it doesn't spring a leak.
I'm sorry. I personally would not feel more comfortable with a thing that you just literally dusted off and threw into.
You probably have to do a lot of ADR to edit out the squeaking.
Just that Mylar balloon, just.
Yeah.
I want a Soap Dish 2 immediately.
Yes. Oh God. Everyone watch Soap Dish if you haven't.
What I love about this, and Spencer kind of bagged on it a little, like, I feel like there are some productions that will get away with this, that will be able to take the time to make sure that things are matching. But like soap operas especially, and just lower budget TV in general, they've got to shoot fast. They don't have the money to make this look good. So I feel like a lot of these scenes are going to start to, these key scenes, especially in soaps, like these are key scenes, right? And they're all going to start looking like, you know, the old joke where everyone used to make fun of kung fu movies where like someone would start to do like a kick and then they'd cut to a wide where it's clearly like a small guy with a bowl cut and a mustache, like just wearing their costume. Like that's what this stuff's going to start to look like. Like there's no way they can do this well. They just don't have the time.
Well, the panning to the fireplace is interesting. Now, how early in a scene, can you pan to a fireplace? We're about to find out. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Dr. Drake Ramore enters, pan to fireplace, and then it's just the squeaking of Mylar on denim.
well, here's the other thing about the use of spouses is like I think it's going to be pretty rare and frankly very creepy if your spouse looks close enough to your coworker to pass. You know, why would they look alike?
Or just clearly
That's where the makeup department comes in. Right? Yeah.
It's gonna look so weird.
Oh God!
You know what if your co-star is a smaller person and your partner has big hands and they do a cut to of these hands and like that's not their hand, that's a big monster hand.
I want to see all of it immediately. I want to see the Godzilla spouse hand.
Spouses and their big hands. Am I right, guys?
Oh man, these folks got the big hands.
Well, like my partner doesn't look a single thing like either of you. You know what I mean? Like, why would your partner look like your coworker ever? You know, like.
Yeah, and I gotta figure like that's half the reason people become actors is to have sex with other people for a role. You know?
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Like, that's we're gonna lose some of our greatest actors.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of the training, I mean, in my experience, I went to acting school and 90% of it was like, you know, just like how to be thirsty without being thirsty was the name of the course.
Those college professors I worked with don't have jobs anymore, but yeah, same.
James Franco once taught me.
But I love, they're just like, yeah, even
Spencer hates actors is one of the things that has been a through line.
I don't hate actors. I think it's funny that they get all the credit. It's hilarious. Yes. It's really funny. Ha ha.
Thank God now the blow up dolls are going to get some of the credit.
Yes. Any job that can be replaced by an inflatable deserves all of our respect and admiration.
Can you imagine losing a role to a novelty birthday balloon? Oh, the ego strike.
In all seriousness, I am worried about the direction CGI is taking that we'll get into. I mean, we have to talk about these.
Haven't we already done a show about that?
Yeah, we already did, but then they upped the ante with blow-up dolls.
Yeah.
I do love,
they're practical.
In the article, they talk about even, like non-romance scenes. It's like everyone's going to be at least 8 feet away, but we're going to make it look great through the magic of TV. Like they'll all just look at a designated point on the wall and yeah, I definitely want to start watching Bold and the Beautiful just so I can watch the Corona process. I think this stuff's going to be fascinating. Just eye lines are going to be off.
They're going to use all this forced perspective. It's going to be like The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Where people will be like in the background, like 8 feet away from them, but they'll make the furniture real big or small to make it look like they're in the same plane. I don't know how the geometry works.
I think this is being respectful, actually. Winding that back in my acting school was like incredibly serious. And you could tell because everybody was wearing a lot of makeup and dressed in black and looked pretty sad most of the time. So like we were about it. But with that in mind, I do think they're really awkward to do. And period. And so this is just, I do feel for the actors because it's a thing that's really awkward and weird and technical, very technical. And that's, I think people don't know necessarily about it. And this is just going to make a actually hard thing that much more challenging to not laugh. Like I remember being on the set of a soap opera once and one of the actors was doing, it was like her first love scene and she kept cracking up. Like she just kept laughing. First of all, we should talk about closed sets and why I was able to see that, but that's another thing. But she just kept laughing. And then eventually the director like just tore into her and was like, this is $1 million a week production. By the way, now we know why they have blow up dolls. They're not real. Do you want to be an actor? Do you want to be out there waiting table? Like really tore into her. And so she's supposed to go from that moment to then actually looking amorous. It's like really hard. And now you're throwing a blow up doll in the mix?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or an uncomfortable, I feel so sorry for like partners and spouses who have to get dragged into this. Yeah. Like I don't want to, I work at a nonprofit or I'm a regional bank manager, and now I got to get dragged on set by my boyfriend who's trying to make a run at acting.
He's gonna put like a wig on me, like call me Shirley or something.
Yeah, very, very, very.
What?
I just like Shirley.
Put a wig on
That's a character's name in and I assume the Bold and the Beautiful. Shirley.
Oh my God. So
Squeak,
dumb. That's so crazy. You know, the other thing that is blowing my mind about this a little bit is like they're taking all of these crazy measures on sets, and we'll talk about a few more in a minute. But meanwhile, half of airports are like just riddled with COVID because the rest of the world is like mission accomplished.
Replace TSA with blow-up dolls.
Let's all lick each other in public. Like,
Commence the licking. We beat it, you guys.
The lick test. I don't know. The machine keeps beeping, so we got to do the lick test.
We can go back to saying hello how we used to, licking. Sneezing in each other's open mouths.
Can we thank the people for watching us?
Release the Kraken.
Joe, thank
You know
the human being.
what I will say is that I respect Mount Olympus was clearly socially distanced, even in that movie, way ahead of its time. Zeus was way up here, and everyone sort of had their own little pod that they stood in to be addressed by Zeus, and I respect it.
Can you get COVID underwater? I don't know. Serious question.
Are you suggesting going to live in a little castle under the sea with
That's your answer to everything, Spencer. Under the sea, under the sea. Yes, I am.
Spencer's our James Cameron. He's just like, to the waves!
Yep.
I'll do it. I want to live in Atlantis.
Yeah. Me and Cameron are going to isolate in the Marianas Trench together.
Real social distancing, actual social distancing.
I'm scared of being underwater, so I have to take my chances in the blow-up doll apocalypse on the land.
Like just generally, you're afraid to even just like put your head underwater?
I can do it, but I don't like it. I don't know.
All right, we know Joe's weakness.
Yeah, you absolutely know my weakness. It's an old-fashioned river strangle is how I would not
old-fashioned. Is that something they do a lot in Kentucky?
It's just when you're getting shh. It's an old-fashioned river strangle.
Is that a real term?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Good. Well, we're going to talk more about our deepest fears and reveal them to you, the internet, which seems so wise on our part. But Spencer will be living in a castle under the sea. I'll be in the Marianas Trench, just a few 100 feet below, with James Cameron talking about movies. And Joe will be trying to avoid being strangled by a river. And I can't tell if it's in the river or by the river. Let's get back to that later.
Yeah. Well.
Thank you so much for watching this with us and enjoying, we hope, your time here. We appreciate it very, very much. We love seeing you on a daily basis. And in the world that we're in, I do see you. I see you. Good. We have good things for you to watch. We have a Hey Fandom this Thursday with Jason Blum. You can ask all your questions about the micro budget horror movie and whatever else you want to know from Jason. The stream is already up on our YouTube page if you want to ask a question. The link is in the description, so make sure to sign up if you want to get your own questions asked and come over and enjoy. It's going to be really, really fun. We are reviewing Avatar live on Friday, so watch ahead. And then watch that and review it with, I think, Joe and Spencer. I believe that's who said they were going to do it. Yep. And again, all of this is in support of a couple of things. One, the Hey Fandoms are still in support of direct relief, which is getting people who are working right on the front lines of COVID much needed supplies. And we continue to support and have links in the description to get involved and learn more about the Black Lives Matter movement. So if you're not able to contribute, that's okay. There's other ways to get involved if you'd like to. And there's plenty of links in the description below for ways to be active. So with that in mind, I'd like Joe Starr for you to tell us about some of the other ways that TV and movies are adjusting.
Oh, yeah.
In the time of COVID.
We talking about them fights?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about them fights. So Sam Hargrave, who was the director of Extraction, the Netflix movie, but he's also a stunt coordinator and action choreographer on like the John Wick stuff and Infinity War and Atomic Blonde and all that stuff. He sort of got into a conversation about how fight scenes are obviously going to get impacted as well. You're not going to see a lot of close combat fight scenes and stuff even really get written into scripts at this point. Like ahead of the game, people are going to start sort of having to figure out how to creatively replace that with stuff like, well, if there's not a fist fight, is it a gunfight? Or are they just swinging knives at each other? Is it a car chase, but there's only one person in each car, and like sort of creative ahead of time fixes for that kind of stuff, which I thought was interesting just because I like the creative challenge of it. It's like, okay, well, normally where we had a car chase and our three heroes were in the same car, what weird reason how can we be creative and have like, oh, one of them's in a car, two of them are on motorcycles, or whatever. Like, what are the creative like solves around that kind of thing? I thought were actually kind of interesting. Like, are they all replaced with blow-up dolls? So one driver, two dolls in the back.
Yeah. I think we're going to be doing a lot of debriefing on like the choices that were made in film and television to accommodate for COVID. Like, can you spot the COVID decision in the movie? This bums me out, Joe. I think you're right that any challenge is also a creative opportunity, but my favorite action sequences are hand to hand. That's what I prefer. I just don't really like, when you get to that part of the Marvel movie, and no disrespect intended, in the third act where inevitably it's like just lots of big things flying at each other and not a lot of intimacy, I check out mentally. But when it's a hand-to-hand scene, there's something very personal about it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. I think it's gonna get weird, and it's gonna stay weird, for a while. Like we just evolved the gunfight scene to gung fu in the John Wick movies, which is all very up close and personal. And now we're already gonna have to like corral it again, where everybody's 20 paces away going. It's gonna get weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there are obviously like amazing action scenes with where people are far away from each other. Even in John Wick with like, well, I guess that was a crowded airport, so they can't do that, or subway terminal with Common and John Wick just kind of like pew pew pewing at each other, or like 1917 where like he's pinned down by that sniper in the tower and stuff like that. But I think that so many action scenes, like Roth was saying, are already big CGI soups, or I imagine something like Jurassic World, which is going to resume filming again next month. Like it's Chris Pratt, and then it's like probably somebody 8 feet away at least holding like a telephone, a tennis ball on a fishing rod. Like,
pretend this is Blue.
Yeah. So I don't know if they'll have to change too much, but yeah, like goodbye Kung Fu movies for the next few months.
I definitely think it pushes us towards a much more like digitally realized world on screen a lot quicker than I prefer. My choice is always going to be we spent $200 figuring out how to fill like a bad looking fake head with ketchup and punched it over a CG one.
Me too. I'm sad. I don't like it. I really, I respect it because it is the responsible thing to do, and I understand it. It's just a bummer. I think that we're going to there's been such great progress. I think generally speaking, Hollywood and the film industry went too far when it came to CG and the tools and playing with those tools. And I get it. And then they kind of came back and found this nice middle ground of practical mixed with CGI. That's been so great. But my favorite action movies of the last couple of years are The Raid 2, the John Wick series. And I didn't love this movie, but I liked the fight sequences in Atomic Blonde a lot. And all of that is antithetical to where this is heading, which is a bummer to me. And even more CGI coming up. I am worried about practical effects too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, always. I mean, we have to think this is temporary, right? For our own sanity. This applies to the movies being filmed, hopefully pessimistically, in the next year. It's not like they're dead and gone forever.
They're specifying, I think, until there's a vaccine or.
Yeah, and like or they'll crack some way to like, or testing will get better. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a Pollyanna here, but that they'll figure out some way to safely do film sets where there's like no doubt. Moving ahead to that bullet point that I read ahead on, like the Tyler Perry biodome thing, where like everybody's hermetically sealed inside a studio. They can guarantee that no one is in or out, no one has corona, and then everyone can start licking.
Well, let's talk about Tyler's biodome, which I believe that this is just standard practice for him, frankly, for how he runs his production. So I don't actually think much has changed. So couple things on locations and the change in locations. Mandalore, people are not going to want to travel as much, and we can understand that. So productions are looking into virtual sets like The Mandalorian, where they basically can do photo real sets in a virtual reality, so they don't have to go on location at all. Which again, like I always think, fine, but you lose something in that. Yeah. Tyler Perry is going full biodome, as Spencer mentioned. He will reportedly use his private jet to fly in the cast members for his new BET series, The Oval and Sisters. The actors will be tested for COVID-19 before boarding the plane. And then once again, when they reach the set, they will be quarantined for 4 hours before they can get their results. And then they will use his studio's 141 barracks of 40 historic homes, 30 newly built residences intended for use by cast and crew shooting at the facility to mitigate travel and exposure. So if you're on his show, you are locked down.
Yeah. He's also preparing to like separate from Atlanta and Georgia.
He's going to secede. That's its own state.
Yeah.
Perryland.
Right?
Yeah, Perryland is coming.
Yeah. I'll move there, I think. If Cameron won't have me in the trench.
You're going to Perryland?
Yeah, if he won't. I hope he will. But he probably.
Yeah, we are turning into a nation of walled city states run by media moguls. So I say let's step on the accelerator. Let's Cameronland, Perry World, Spielbergville. Take your pick.
I bet Spielbergville is really pleasant.
Quibiton,
Jeffrey Katzenberg's Quibiton.
For everything you do last 15 minutes.
What do you think you have to do? Like, what's the policy to like move into these lands? What's the immigration policy in Perryland or in Spielbergville?
I think it's friends and family, and everyone else gets shot. If I know anything about rich people.
I think, unfortunately, I think it's the worst of internet culture is going to be proven right. And it's just going to be about how much stuff you know about their stuff.
There'll be a movie fight to enter the gate.
Yeah, there's going to be a movie fight and a trivia contest to enter the gate. And if you don't know the names of the background actors in the bar where Arnold walks around naked in T2, you're on the streets, man.
Boy, that's going to be a grim little town because I can think of the 10 people off the top of my head that would make it in, and
they're all going to get along.
Take my chances out here.
I'll take my chances on these streets. I do wonder. I think like Spencer said, on one hand, it's like there's going to be like this year where it's going to be hardcore, like spot the corona fix, and then some things will go back to normal. But I do wonder if like studios just go, oh, hey, why bother like on location? No, we can spend like a fixed amount of money on our Mandalorian Favreau screen. That's what I'm calling Jon Favreau's Mandalorian screen, the Favreau vision. And we're good. And because I feel like in upheavals like this where everyone has to find new solutions, like some of these are going to stick. Probably. Blow-up dolls probably won't stick.
No,
I mean, they do.
You got to wash them down after give them a good hose.
You got to know when to hose them.
Which, by the way, is the plot of an Anna Kendrick Quibi series. I don't know if you guys have been watching Quibi, but
the answer to that is no.
Her boyfriend's sex doll comes to life and has conversations with her. And episode 1, she has to clean her out. It's horrible.
Wow. Just because you man a can doesn't mean you man a should. Like.
Oh boy, yeah. Quibi's a trip. I spent my 2-week free trial, and my brain absolutely melted.
So have we talked about this? Have you guys talked about this when I wasn't here? Like, did you do a quick Quibi review, Spencer?
No,
we haven't Quibi'd yet, but we should.
Terrible.
Okay.
It's so awful. It's for nobody. It's nothing for nobody. It's insane. It's like you could do everything better for YouTube, and the idea that people don't have the attention span for, I guess, a television show is just refuted by every television show.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Why would you get YouTube but worse, but for money? But celebrities, it just doesn't work. It's like everyone's bad web series idea that they didn't want to turn into a television show. Yeah. Got a little bit of money to be on your phone. And I do love, I think a much needed show right now is Reno 911, about a bunch of stupid cops doing dumb things. And that is funny because it's just Reno 911 segments on Quibi. But apart from that, I have found nothing, absolutely nothing bad.
I feel like that's the only thing that could work, because like, I guess you got to lean into what hurt Key and Peele in a way, where it's like no one watched the show because that did work as like a short form format. Everyone just watched Key and Peele's sketches on YouTube. So I guess if you can just lean into that, and that's what Quibi is.
It's not. It's like
watch his clips anyway.
Yeah, it's like watching a bad movie 8 minutes at a time.
No one's gonna pay $5 a month for that, even though to Jeffrey Katz,
$7.99.
Fuck you. Sorry.
She dropped an F-bomb. Replace her with Caleb in a wig.
Don't worry, this episode's not monetized. Don't worry.
I'm gonna make him come in tomorrow in a wig. Hi, babe. Hey, so that didn't happen. But what did happen is, it's like only Jeffrey Katzenberg is like, it's $7.99. Anybody can pay for that. It's like, no, man, that's a choice, and that's a choice between you and a much better service that has many more things. That's so weird. Like, no one's gonna pay for that. Oh man, what is it? I don't understand how these things happen. How do these things happen?
People don't get told no enough. Especially when you make a certain amount of money, nobody tells you no anymore. And I volunteered myself to go around to your famous friends or executives to say, no.
Boop them on the nose.
No. But yeah, they need professional boopers. You know, the when a Roman general would come back victorious from conquering some province, and they'd be thrown a triumph. You know, they'd get a parade through the Roman streets, and they'd have somebody sit behind them and whisper, like, "You're gonna die. Like, this is all temporary. You're gonna die." And I think we need to bring that back for celebrities and executives.
I think so too. I think that a daily reminder of your mortality and fallibility. See, we're on the internet, so we get a daily reminder of our fallibility, period.
Yeah, we get that in the comments.
Thank you, fans.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping us.
Because it definitely... no way to get an ego. But I will say there's a service that also I think struggled at launch, which is not HBO Max, but Apple. And it has a couple of good shows, including, I think I talked about Mythic Quest the other day. Good. Yeah, I really liked it. I watched it over a weekend. I love Sunny, so I'm not surprised. But it's really got a lot more. Well, Sunny has no heart. Yeah. So, but it's actually got quite a bit of heart. And in the last episode in particular, somebody was talking about it in our comments. Was a quarantine episode, and it ended up just being incredibly emotional and sweet and well done and clever. I highly recommend that show, but I worry that it's on Apple, that very few people are going to have access to it.
Right.
Yeah, and the morning show's good, and that Beastie Boys documentary is good. Apple's, I'm not as worried about. Like, they'll only stop because they'll get bored, not because they'll lose money, because they have, I think, $1 trillion of cash like hidden offshore, and they their business is selling devices, which just gives you 6 months or a year of Apple Plus. So like Apple TV or Apple Plus or whatever is like a rounding error to them. But yeah, I think hopefully they'll get it together. They just need shows that like people talk about and are worth watching, because I think most people, if you get an iPhone or an iPad or a laptop or whatever, like, you get a year's worth of the service, so you'll check it out.
Is the worst case, like, let's say Apple gets bored and is like, meh, is the worst case they just fire sale this stuff over to Netflix or Hulu, or do Do they go, then no one gets it, and just sort of?
I think they just go and no one gets it because Apple has so much FU money.
Sure.
Hey, Ryan, one thing that I haven't done yet is hear from the fans and hear from the viewers about what they're saying about blow-up dolls and social distancing and non-fight fighting in cinema and the things that they would like to see or worried about seeing. And any given pitches for Soap Dish 2 are also welcome. So check in with the fans, report back to us. You guys make sure to watch till the end because frankly, we never know how the show is going to end. Sometimes it's with a river strangle, like today, Joe.
An old-fashioned one.
An old-fashioned river strangle. What is that? What are you? Is it when Sarah finally gets tired of you and chooses to eat you?
Yes.
Good. Do you want to do a fan question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or do you have more stuff to say about CGI?
It's all going to look very weird, and when low-budget productions try to do CGI face swaps on people's spouses and partners, it's going to look very funny, and I'm very excited to see it.
Me too. Ryan, what are the people saying?
Oh, the people are saying so much. One thing that got brought up, I'm trying to see who commented it first. I believe it was at Scott Summers. Thank you, Cyclops, I guess, for being in the chat. But he brought up Shang-Chi as a movie that there's some people in the chat were saying maybe that's a movie that you can't really do right until you get to that vaccination point. If you're going to pull off what Marvel
He's
wants
so
to
excited to be Shang-Chi, and now he can't for a minute. That sucks.
Right. So at ALM Osice 210, I never know how to pronounce their name, but they know who they are. They say, I would delay Shang-Chi until vaccinations are readily available. Sucks, but it's better to do the movie right than to not do it with the respect it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And then also at Night Sky Films is a little pessimistic about it. Said, I'm pretty sure COVID killed live action entertainment. People are going to have to film things with both hands tied behind their back creatively.
Hey, I'm not that pessimistic. I think, like you're saying, it's either a vaccine will come. Oh, we lost Joe. Or no, we didn't. He's unfrozen. I think you were just sitting still for a minute. Sorry.
My cat jumped off my lap and unplugged the internet for the briefest second.
I think we should start messing with Spencer, Joe, and just...
Yeah, or I see the world devolving into like go zones and no-go zones, and I think that production will move around accordingly because we're all handling this differently. Some are taking it more seriously than others, and there will be places that contain the virus and places that don't, and they can always move production to places that, impinge their freedoms by wearing a mask for a little bit when they went outside.
They're shooting Shang-Chi at the Perry Dome, I think, is what's happening.
Or in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe New Zealand will take me. Ooh, Cameron's there. I still have to pass the Cameron test. Shoot. Okay. Joe K said,
weirdly, the Cameron test is not movies. It's just submarine knowledge. So don't let them trick you. It's just all nautical knowledge.
Yeah, you have to bring them a sediment sample from the bottom of the ocean. And the gates open like Jurassic Park.
How deep in the ocean? Can I just go to the beach?
How much do you want to stay?
How much do you want to be in there?
I want to be there. I want to do it. I want to go to the trench pretty badly. Joe K says, what sequels besides T2 Aliens and Aliens is arguable, overshadowed the original Godfather 2?
Overshadowed, though. That's a big word.
I don't think it's
not just as good as,
but to me, that's a hard thing because to me, Godfather 2 definitely is the better film, but it couldn't exist without The Godfather, which is also a brilliant film. So it's kind of hard.
For me, and I think probably for most movie fans on all levels, Karate Kid 2 overshadowed Karate Kid 1. The locations are bigger and more exotic. The lessons Daniel has to learn are more major. We get to learn more about, Mr. Miyagi and the escalating amount of times that Sato's goons wreck Miyagi's garden. I think just have a lot more to add than the issues with Johnny at the core of the first movie.
Thank you, Joe. I'm glad somebody had the guts to say it.
You're welcome. I think never die, man.
The things that are coming to my head are all very basic boy popcorn stuff, but I think those are the movies that get sequels because it's Winter Soldier totally overshadowed First Avenger, and Dark Knight totally overshadowed Batman Begins.
I have you on record like a week and a half ago saying that Batman Begins is your favorite Batman.
It is. I said overshadowed. People don't talk about Begins enough. It's because the Dark Knight took all its thunder.
I think
also Thor Ragnarok.
They mean that we think it's the better movie. Am I misunderstanding the question?
Oh, well, I think Batman Begins is a better film. Full stop. But what's the question again?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. I'll answer whatever you want.
I think if you go both ways, because I think there are movies where like the public perception is like I think most people are like, yeah, Terminator 2 better than Terminator. Like, go for it. That where it's the rule and not the exception. But then also, you can have your own personal ones.
Like Fury Road. Is it better than Mad Max 1 and 2?
Yeah.
In most ways, yes. Yeah. But I understand people who argue the opposite.
Thor Ragnarok's a really good example too, Spencer. It took them so many movies to figure out Thor, and by God, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So maybe I was misreading the question. Overshadowed meaning like people don't talk about the first one as much as they talk about the second, which is why he was saying Aliens is arguable versus Alien. Mm-hmm. If you watched T1, so a couple of years ago there was an event here in LA where they played T1 and T2 back to back. And then James Cameron was there to do a little talk afterwards, and it was awesome, obviously. Ooh, yeah. Although I did not at the time know that I should have been buttering him up to live in the trench, unfortunately. But they are structurally, and I love these movies. I can't express to you how much I love the world of the Terminator and Sarah Connor Chronicles and all of it, and it's just like poured into my brains. Those two movies and Sarah Connor Chronicles, actually nothing else. But
the only three Terminator things that there are.
They are
and the arcade game.
They are structurally the same movie. They are they are the exact same movie. And if you watch them back to back, it becomes like just wildly clear how much they are structurally the same movie. But the changes, what's brilliant about it is that the changes are all 100% character. Change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they need each other. Same with Godfather 1 and 2. They're both brilliant and they need each other. They're not the same movie, but they need each other.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Yeah, there's some obvious ones. Empire. Maybe Empire nostalgically now overshadows Star Wars now that we're years away from A New Hope opening and making everybody crap their brains out of their ears. Now we look back and we're like, oh, Empire, full stop, better movie. I don't know if when Empire came out, if that was the prevailing instant opinion. A lot of people probably like, this is dark and not Star Wars. I'm trying to think of comedies.
Shrek 2.
Well, not according to internet interest. But Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1.
Not often with comedies.
Yeah, it's tougher.
Because it's harder if you end up repeating tropes or beats, you're repeating jokes, which nobody wants that.
No, you need the element of surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, quick check on the chat. Do they have any suggestions or movies they're calling out? And then we'll just go ahead and say some stuff, and then we'll be back.
A couple real quick. At FPop Entertainment said Mission Impossible Fallout, and I would say like the Mission Impossible movies have gotten better each sequel. Brandon Sloan said also Spider-Man 2 is way better than the first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then Jamie Garcia says, keeping with the show from a movie motif in Karate Kid, how about Cobra Kai? I think it's way better than the movies.
Joe?
Is he messing with us?
I can't tell you.
Wait, I can't tell either. Oh no.
Excellent freeze,
tell
Joe.
He's just really upset.
Yeah.
By that,
no, he's frozen. He's for sure frozen. we should just go.
Frozen. I think he felt so torn about how to respond because he loves Cobra Kai, but that's also a betrayal to the Karate Kid.
Crane kicked his router.
I think you killed Joe.
Yeah.
That's what the river strangle looks like.
Oh dear.
River strangled Joe.
Now we know.
All right, done. No more show.